So when I heard about this book, How to Make Pesach in 5 Days, I didn't read it correctly, because for me, I make Pesach in, I'd say I start my Pesach in about 5 or 6 weeks before Pesach. And I really do, because a week or two before Purim, I start to take inventory of my chametz, because I don't want to have too much cereal in the house. I don't want to have too much pasta in the house. I want to get rid of my chametz. So I isolate it, and that's what we have. My children will tell you that one year we actually found in the freezer a cheesecake that was from Shavuos. It had been sitting in my freezer. So it's actually quite a therapeutic thing to clean out the chametz. And as we all know, when we're cleaning out the chametz, we're actually cleaning out the ego from within us. Yeah, that's what's happening. And I actually use the Pesach cleaning opportunity to work on my self-growth, which might mean I put a shir on. One year I remember listening to Rabbi Berelwein's history lectures. I've listened to my husband, Rabbi Rashi Simon's shiurim, which are amazing, which are on our Kesher YouTube channel. I've all the other people I like to listen to. And I also really enjoy putting music on when I'm cleaning, because that also makes it a whole different experience. And now that I have a Fitbit, I actually am looking forward to getting started with my real Pesach cleaning, because I'm hoping that it's going to count as some steps. We'll find out. So my Pesach cleaning, yeah, it usually does start about 5 or 6 weeks before Pesach. So I'm really looking forward to hearing a way I can shorten it. But I've got to be honest, I really start my Pesach cleaning as soon as Pesach is finished. As soon as Pesach is finished, when I'm putting stuff away, I actually keep a list in the cupboard where I have my Pesach supplies. And on that list, I write what worked and what didn't work, and what I need to buy more of next year, and what I definitely need to stay away from for the next year. I also, like this year, I already know that last year we were expecting lots and lots of kids and grandkids who didn't come because of this pandemic. So I have a surplus of toothbrushes in my house. So I know I was actually tempted to buy toothbrushes when I saw them on sale, and I said, I better check my Pesach list. So I find it very, very useful to do that. And I always make sure to have one extra, like brand new recipe that I try for Pesach. And so I need to note, was it a flop or was it a success? We have some pretty funny Pesach stories, which one has become a success. I once left the sugar out of my sponge cake, and my daughter-in-law was enjoying the Pesach cholent, where it's basically potatoes and meat. And she said, Ima, how did you make that kishka? And I said, I'll tell you after the meal. It was my sponge cake that I'd forgotten to put sugar in. So I haven't repeated that one, but I might if I forget to put sugar in my cake again. So that's the way I go with Pesach, and I'm looking forward to hearing some ideas. Now, I want to introduce you to our speaker tonight, who is Meira Spivak, who's a fellow American. She actually is living on the West Coast where I'm from. I'm from Los Angeles, though I live in the United Kingdom. Although Meira, I think you actually are from the East Coast, so that's a different planet from the West Coast. And Meira is a trained facilitator in systematic inventive thinking, which in short is called inside the box thinking. So we're often like told, hey, it's great to think out of the box, but this is a way to actually think in the box. And she's going to share with us this, using some of these skills and some of her just innovation, how to actually succeed in making Pesach in 5 days. Now, before Meira starts, I just want to say that this book is available in the United Kingdom. You can get it through Torah Treasures, and it is apparently going to be available on Amazon in the United States, which means maybe they'll get it on Amazon here. But have no fear, if you want the book, which I think you will, you should get it through, I'm going to put on the chat it's very easy. It's ncsy.org/donate. So I'll put it on the chat, and just write you should give a donation from $10, 10 US dollars. Works out okay right now with the exchange rate. And so it should be from $10 up. And if you don't mind, just write spiritual spa or kesher, or you went onto the Zoom that was out of London, or without whatever it is, okay? Just give some identification. And also, if you want to know about more spiritual spa programs, where I have my name, I also have my email, so you can be in touch with me. Okay, and I just one little announcement. If there are further, you want to know more about Pesach, we have Rabbi Simon, my husband, is giving a pre-Pesach seminar with practical halacha and an opportunity for lots and lots of halacha questions, and also some Seder inspiration, which is taking place the 16th of March in 2 Tuesdays. Okay, so I will be posting more details, and I'm gonna look forward. I'm gonna listen to how to make Pesach. I'm gonna have so much time on my hands now. I'm so excited. Okay, ready to listen, Meira.
Pesach is under a month, and guess what? I don't care. I'm not even stressed out. It only takes 5 days. So my name is Meira Spivak, and I know Ruthie had mentioned some stuff about me. I actually work full time. I work in outreach. I work for an organization called NCSY, and that is really like my full time job. Is what I get to do all day. Is really just helping to connect Jews to Judaism. So that's really something that I'm passionate about. And as she mentioned, I also teach innovation and effective brainstorming. So I won't. This is not a brainstorming course, or we are actually going to be learning how to make Pesach in 5 days. But a lot of the methods that I use are based on some of the skills from that innovation, from those techniques. Some also fun facts about me. I used to be a caterer. Now I say really pre-COVID, I would like cater for free because we were always having these Shabbatons, and somehow I was like the caterer. Okay, so it was like a skill that I had on my own and something that I took with me to be involved with NCSY. I also have a large family, so making Pesach is super fun. There is never a dull moment. I remember, one year, and I was like, we need to order a lot of peelers. It was like kids around me be like, can we help? Can we help? And you just want to give them like the potatoes, because who wants to do the potatoes, right? So I'm always like giving them the potatoes, and it is fun to make Pesach in 5 days, especially with a large family. But I'm one of these people that are doing a million things, helping with community events. We started a sleepaway camp a few years ago. I'm doing all these public speakings. And then, I guess I was bored. So I decided to write a book and how to make Pesach in 5 days. So this book is actually based on a class that I've been giving for many years, how to make Pesach in 5 days. And then last year when COVID hit, after the whole pandemic, I was like, you know what? I really think this needs to be written down in a book. I'm not a writer, but I could write it down, and someone could edit it and it'll be great. So that's what we did. I compiled really this into a book, added some awesome recipes for my mother. Now it's great. My mother, I talked to her on the phone. I'm like, she's getting nervous about Pesach. And I'm like, mommy, don't worry. The recipes are in the book. And she's laughing because they're all her recipes. So she doesn't need to read this book to get her recipes back, but just like a cute thing. So you'll have to decide what's better, the book or the speech if you get it. But just so you know, the book, all proceeds do go to tzedakah. So I'm not keeping any of the money. So it's something just nice that when you buy the book, you could feel good about that. So I always loved making Pesach, but I have to be honest, it stressed me out. I'm like one of these type A. So I like doing all these things and organizing, but I was really stressed. For months before, I'm making lists and I'm planning. And what happened, I would clean the room, and then my room would be all done. And it was a week or two before Pesach. And I would turn around, whatever. And I would look, and my 2-year-old would be standing in my room with a bag of Cheerios. And I have to say, that was probably one of the worst feelings ever, to just be when you have that satisfaction of just finishing something and you did it and you feel so good. And then you turn around and realize you need to do it again. And it's don't worry, you don't have to do the drawers again. They didn't bring the Cheerios into the drawers. Okay. But it was a really frustrating feeling. And I kept having that again and again. So the way I like to say it is, I think that most people the way they feel about Pesach is the way that my kids feel when they're getting shots at the doctor. Okay. So my kids know it's their birthday's coming up and they're going to go to the doctor. And they're always wait, which birthday is it? I'm like, what do you mean? Am I getting shots? Well, I don't know. I have to see. We don't know. We don't know until we get there. Well, And they know somehow they're getting, even if they don't think they're getting, even if they're not getting shots, they're in shot mode. Okay. So like, when's the appointment? Yeah, it's a few days. It's today. They're starting to get nervous. And then it gets to the point, like we're about to go to the doctor and they are literally like, they're like hiding, like they won't get in the car. I'm like dragging them to the car. We're getting to, they don't want to go in. They walk into the doctor's office. They're crying, right? And they go and finally I like get them in the office and the nurse comes. They get I'm holding them down, of course, because like they get the shot, which lasts about, a point, like, I don't know, a quarter of a second. It doesn't even hurt. Like when their sister.
I'm just going to interject with the translation because we know that America believes in guns. She doesn't mean shot. She means an injection. Okay. Just so you know.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yes, that's definitely what I meant.
Vaccinations.
Okay. So we're getting the, what was it called? Vaccinations. We're getting vaccines. Okay. And they're literally freaking out. It doesn't even last. And I remember it's like, they get that. And then it's like, oh, that was it. And sometimes the stress leading up to Pesach is like the stress that they feel leading up to their vaccinations. It doesn't have to be that way. That shot hurts for a quarter of a second. Why are they stressed out for days before? Pesach cleaning is intense, but it doesn't have to be crazy. We can only stress for a few days. Why do we have to stress for a whole month? And I actually wanted to call the book Only Stress for 5 Days. And I was voted down because I'm like, no, that's the point. It's not like you're not going to stress. You're just only going to stress for 5 days and not for like a whole month. But they said that title wouldn't sell. So we just decided to change it. So I used to be probably in your boat and I took a month or 2 months or 3 months. And then 1 year we had an NCSY outreach Shabbaton. And guess what? It fell like a week after Purim. And I was like, well, what do I do now? I have to be cleaning for Pesach. And I made a decision and I said, well, I have 2 choices. Either I can cook and be stressed out and do everything together, or I'm just gonna make the Shabbaton. And then after I finish, I'll focus on Pesach. And guess what? That's what I did. And you know what? It was awesome because I finished a Shabbaton. It was like a week or 2 of Pesach. And I'm like, oh, why? Okay. And I made Pesach in whatever it was, 2 weeks. And then I started cutting down and realizing it doesn't have to be this crazy long experience. Cleaning for Pesach really doesn't have to take so long. So welcome to How to Make Pesach in 5 Days. I'm going to share with you some tricks of the trade. You're going to see how making Pesach is totally manageable. You're not going to stress for weeks ahead. And you're even going to get a nap before the Seder. Okay, not just you, your entire family. So the book is going to have more. It's going to have the recipes and it has lists and all that stuff. And I'm not going to be giving you recipes today, but that's what we're gonna do.
Which is really, really important. Rav Scheinberg actually used to say a person should take a nap the day of the Seder. And we have to remember that as women, we have a mitzvah to be at the Seder, to participate in the Seder. So part of our preparation it's so important to make sure that we're rested before the Seder.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so just so you know, I don't check the chat when I know Ruthie had said put stuff in the chat, but if there's stuff in the chat or emojis or whatever, just call out if there's something that's not clear. I know I talk quickly. I'm going to give over the feeling of what those 5 days, that's how quick I'm going to move during those 5 days because we got to move. But if I'm too fast, slow me down. Happy to talk slower. I just sometimes need to get reminded. I'm going to share ideas with you that work for me, but they might not work for you. It could be you, maybe your hours are 9 to 5 and you can't clean during the day, or you have little kids or older kids, or you don't have help, or you don't have any, that's fine. Take whatever you can from this class, adjust it to your lifestyle. It's not one size fits all. It's whatever's going to help you. Take bite size and just adjust and make it easier for you. So the question everyone asks is, if it only takes 5 days, like, why are we starting this class like a month before Pesach? We should just do this class like 7 days before Pesach. So it actually takes more than 5 days to get ready for Pesach. Okay, just kidding. It doesn't take it takes 5 days. But I will tell you, it does take prep. So if you want to make Pesach in 5 days, you cannot wake up 6 days. I mean, you can, but it'll be really stressful, but you can't really wake up 5 days before Pesach and say, all right, what should I do? Maybe I should start, should I go to the store now? Should I start? What the 5 days are, the 5 days are going to be like an intense cleaning, cooking, getting everything done in 5 days. But if you want to do that, you need to like get organized before. And I'm going to share with you what the days leading up to the 5 days are, and then what the 5 days look like. Okay. So The 5 days is when you're going to cook and clean and make your house prepared for Pesach. But there might be certain things that you want to get done before to be organized about it, right? And I'm going to share them with you, and you'll take what you can and what works for you. So, by the way, I'll show you something funny. I told my mother, she was like really organized, okay? And I said, Mommy, I'm writing this book. And she goes, 5 days? She said, I start Hanukkah. And she's not kidding, except she is, because on Hanukkah, you know what she does? She starts spring cleaning. And that's not really Pesach cleaning. People think that when I'm going to start, I'm going to like take down the curtains and like clean the moldings, which is great if you're into that. I'm just not like a great cleaner, so I don't usually do that. But if you want to do that, that's fine. You could do that anytime during the year. You could do that from Hanukkah. You could do it from Purim. The weeks leading up to the 5 days is when you're going to do any spring cleaning that you want. This is the time you're going to start switching over your kids' clothing, right? Let's say Pesach, I don't know, this year it doesn't fall out so much in the spring, but it's the time you're going to take inventory and start seeing what do people need. You can't wake up 5 days before Pesach and say, oh, we should go clothing shopping, especially not if you have teen girls. We could talk about that another time. This is super fun, but you want to switch over your kids' clothing, right? See what I need. You might need to tailor some of their stuff. You're going to bring it in now, right? If you need to get it shotness tested, all that stuff you want to take care of before. You want to buy yourself clothing too. I really believe that everybody should come to the Seder with something nice. And I don't care if it is used. I don't care if you go to a used store or to a Gama, and it doesn't matter, but you should come in feeling special. It could be and even for your children, even if you can't afford it, I don't care if you get them a headband, whatever, they should come and feel like I have something special at the Seder. And this is a time, if you want to get your kids and all your stuff, you're not going to get them outfitted in 5 days. So another thing that you might want to do is you're going to want to make your menu. Now, I'm going to show you a sample menu of mine, and you're not going to be able to read it. Okay. So I'm doing that on purpose because I just want to show you a few important things about when you make your menu. I do like to make it in advance. And actually what I do is I save my menu now on my computer and I label it Pesach Menu 2020 from last year. And then every year, all I do is I right click it and I change the name I duplicate it and I write Pesach Menu 2021 and I open it up. And now I have something to look at. I'm not starting from scratch every year. What did I make again? Did anyone remember what I had? We're not doing that anymore. There's no time for that. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to look at last year's and I'm going to start editing it. Oh, last year that was a big meal. This is going to be a small meal. Last year there wasn't COVID. Now it's COVID. We're going to change things around, but we're going to start from a basic. So I just want to show you something. When I make my menu, I make it for the whole Pesach. So this year we're having a 3-day holiday in the beginning, a 3-day Yontiv, and there's a lot of days. So I'm only going to show you a sample because this is what's important about this. And this is what I want you to see. And you don't have to read any words. And I also really don't share my menus because I feel like a lot of times we get like so comparing to our friends, like, what are they making? They make so many things. You don't have to worry about if you make less or more than anybody else. You just want to make it nice for you. And I always joke, so during the year, like my house is so simple. We eat like so much pasta. It's ridiculous. And my kids are like, why do we have so much pasta? I'm like, what do you mean? Our Shabbos has to be nicer than our weekday. So I have 2 choices. Either I can make my Shabbos really nice, or I could just make my weekday really, really low bar. And then anything's great. Okay. But the reason what I want to show you is when I make my menu, I use this on a Word doc. Okay. It's like just columns. It doesn't matter. I have, it says first night, first Seder, first day, second Seder, second day, third meal, third Shabbat, Friday, Shabbos. That's it. But what's important is I happen to get sick of food. I really enjoy food, but I get sick of it. So what I do is, let's say I decide in my house, I'm going to make coleslaw. Okay. Now, by the way, when I cook, and I'll share this a little bit, I cook for all 8 days I cook for the whole Pesach at one time, except for the fresh salad. So when I'm cooking my meats, it's all the meats. So when I make my menu, I'm going to be making a menu that's going to cover the whole thing. So let's say I decide I want to serve coleslaw. Instead of putting coleslaw on the first night and the first day, and then the second night, I'm going to put coleslaw on the first night and then on the 5th night or on the 8th day. So I'm not getting sick of the same foods again and again. So I just want to show you. And sometimes, again, I know you can't see it. It doesn't matter. I don't want you to see it. But sometimes I'll write onion kugel 1, onion kugel 2. Again, so it's just, I know how many I need to make when I cook. And the other piece is I used to make 2 Seders, and one Seder I made this brisket and this Seder I made. And then one year I said, why am I making 2 different Seders? The Seder is just twice. And guess what I do? Now my Seder says, second Seder, it said, I can't even see it. It says the word same. We have the same food for the second Seder and the first Seder. Don't tell anybody. And everyone's okay. Because you know what? It's not about the brisket and nobody cares. It's like 11 o'clock at night and everyone's falling asleep and they don't care if you have a different recipe for your brisket than the night before. They don't care. Okay. So the same thing. So when I make my menu, I'm going to do this 2 or 3 weeks before and I'm going to want to start ordering food, right? So I'm going to make my menu for the entire Pesach. And it's so easy because I just opened last year's. Now, I didn't do that in the past. I used to write it on sticky notes because that's where really organized people write things. And then I would lose it. So now I got smart and everything's on Microsoft Word or Google Docs or whatever you use. And that's what I do. Okay. So I make that menu. I also, not this year, but in general, I'll invite some guests because I love having guests at my meals. So I'll invite guests to make sure, or maybe this year I'll plan to eat outdoors. Maybe I'll have outdoor guests or whatever's appropriate in your city. I might line some shelves and even buy the dry goods. So why can't I order like the oil or the matzah meal now? But I just need a place to put it. What this is doing is taking the weeks leading up to Pesach stress-free. Because let's say I start lining my shelf and a kid comes in and they distract me. I'm not stressed about it because I have 3 weeks. What I call the weeks leading up to Pesach is like stress-free cleaning. It's like, if it doesn't work, it'll do tomorrow. It's no big deal. I'm going to line some shelves. I might even have myself or a cleaning lady, depending on what you're doing during COVID or just in general, cleaning out a freezer. And I might even order the meat in advance. So I have everything. One year I couldn't do that. I literally took 2 black garbage bags. I ordered all the meat. I tied it in garbage bags and I stuffed it in the freezer. And I was like all nervous. Okay. And also when I live out of town. I don't know if you guys are out of town or not, but I'm out of town. So if I'm out of town, I order my meat and half the time I order like a 7-pound thing and it comes like 4 pounds. So that's annoying. So now I know if I order in advance that I get in like, oh, I guess I got to order again next week, but I can only do that if I start in advance. Okay. So I might be doing other miscellaneous items. I might be ordering Haggadahs if you need, the Afikomen gifts. Okay. I know some people are like, what do you want for Afikomen? And they're just giving out all this stuff. I got really smart one year and I was like, Afikomen gifts are Jewish books every year. So that's what we get them. And I order them in advance. And they're like, this is the present, it's like, you're giving socks for Hanukkah. No, but they're very excited about it. And except that I order them the same thing every year because I always forget. And then there's a joke that they're getting the same book every year, whatever. But I'm ordering that in advance. I might even buy 1 or 2 new toys for my house because we're not cleaning every toy. Maybe we'll clean 1 or 2, but there's no way I am cleaning all my toys. I'll clean my magnets and my Legos. I'll put them in the washing machine. Everything else is getting locked up. You think I'm going through every single puzzle and every Monopoly? I mean, please, like you should see what I found in the boys' Monopoly game one year. I was like, how is this even possible? Like you guys, what are you like eating in the box? Like they literally, there was like sandwiches in the box, So that's what you want to do. You want to start arranging your cleaning ladies and you're babysitting for the 5 days because don't think you're the only one that needs a cleaning lady. You will call them up and say, hi, are you available? X, Y, and Z date. Book them now before everybody else. And if you overbook them, you could always get rid of them because people always want them from you. Okay, so just do that now also. You're going to plan maybe some easy meals for the 5 days. So during the 5 days, it's going to be super hyper focused. You might want to plan now, like, hey, what are we going to do during the 5 days? We still need to eat. Is there a place I could eat bagels in the park? Or in the supermarket or whatever you have? Is there a section corner in my house that I'm going to leave and just have a crock pot going or a sandwich maker? What am I going to do during those 5 days? Again, if it's me, I'll be like, more noodles, right? But what are you doing and how are you eating? And just think about that. If you're someone that's really like into fancy or not fancy, but like you really want a proper meal every single day. So then make them now and freeze them. And you could do that. You don't want to start having too many potatoes in advance. So like, I wouldn't be like, oh, we'll just give potatoes 5 extra days. Like potatoes are good on Pesach, but nobody wants like an extra 5 days. So, just think about that a little bit. It also depends if it's a 3-day yontiv, you're going to have to, and this year is what it is. So we're going to have to plan this year. Our 5 days is going to start on Monday. Okay. Cause even though Friday is not really yontiv, it's Friday night. So we need Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So if you want to start in 5 days, you're going to start Monday. Now, the time of the 5 days, do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions or are we good? Thumbs up if we're okay. Thumbs up. Okay. So the 5 days is very flexible. Okay. You could spend some time cooking. Like I like to divide it, 2 days and 2 days, 2.5 days. You could be flexible. But you don't want to get to the point where you spent 4 days cleaning and you're like, wait, I have no food, right? So you want to be mindful of what needs to happen. So I'm going to get into the 5 days and I'm going to share with you how that went. And we are going to spend the first about 2 to 2.5 days cleaning our house. Okay. And now, if you've already gone through your house and you've kind of organized your kids' clothing, looking at what they need, it's not so hard to clean because for the last few weeks, you've leisurely like organized. There's not a major clutter because if you wanted to spring clean, you did it already. So right now, when I say clean, I mean clean. Remove the chametz, get rid of the Cheerios, okay? We are really focused on getting the chametz out. If you have a desire to spring clean anything, you stop yourself. I don't care what you need to do. You say, I am not doing this. This is spring cleaning. I will do it after. Once the 5 days hits, we are only cleaning the things that we need to clean. Okay. So you might start, and some things are going to happen in your house. These are the days that you are going to clean your cars. Right, you might have a car wash. We actually always doing an NCSY Pesach car wash, which is super fun. And then the whole joke is that like after the teens clean it, you have to clean your car again because it's not really clean. It's like a whole, why are we here again? It's like super cute, but you want to clean your cars. Okay. That's something that obviously has to get done. I mean, you could sell your cars if you don't need them, whatever you want. But definitely, and that's also a great way for, let's say, if you have a spouse that can take, like, let's say your husband could go to the car wash, let them put kids in the car and go to the car wash. Yes, it's going to take double as long. That's the point. The car wash is also a babysitter. Okay. So you take your kids to the car wash, let all of them help. It doesn't matter how long it takes, just get them out of the house so you can really clean. Okay. At this point, you're going to finish all non-produce shopping. So if there's any last minute, I forgot the matzah meal, I don't know, anything that's not vegetables, you got to make sure already you have. Take inventory. You've gone through your menu again. There's no more like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to make. You already know. Your menu is ready. You know exactly what you need. Okay. If you're not sure, you buy extra, whatever, but everything is done. You're going to stock up on my favorite is Windex and paper towels. Okay. So you will need a ton of Windex or something that you could spray to poison everything. When I wrote the book, I actually tried reaching out like to Ziploc and Windex and like, do you want to sponsor this book? Cause I'm really into Windex. But what you're going to do now, okay, is you're going to go from room to room. You're going to set a timer. If this helps you, you could put on fast music. We're not putting on like Shweki. You know what I'm saying? I want fast music that's going to like motivate you and get you moving. You're not schmoozing on the phone with your sister or your brother or your cousin or your friend. Say goodbye to them. After the 6 days before Pesach, say goodbye. Say, I will talk to you either at night or in a week. Okay. And you're going to go in the room. You're in a bedroom. You're going to remove the sheets. Just shake. I like to wash my sheets. You don't have to just shake. You could shake them out. Take the sheets off. Look for stuff. Move the furniture that needs to be moved. Right? If it's movable, move I don't mean you're not taking off your bookshelves that are built into the wall. We're not doing that. You're just going to, if the bed, you can move under the bed. Under the bed somehow collects a ton of things. Okay. You're going to scan the drawers. This is what it looks like. Hands in. Pick up the clothes, look in the drawers, no chametz, put it back in. We are not folding clothes. Do not fold one piece of clothing. If your socks are not matched, they are going to stay not matched. We are only Pesach cleaning. You go in, you take out the clothes, you scan it, you go. Lock away most of the toys. Oh, I don't want to check this. I have all these. Lock it away, wrap it up. You're going to sell those for Pesach. We're not checking every toy. Your children will be fine with like 3 toys. They're gonna manage. Okay. If you have boys, you're going to check every possible hiding place ever known to mankind. Why they would keep food like in the cracks of like the beds and in their shoes. I don't know why, but yes, everywhere possible, check in their room, like as if you were going on a treasure hunt. Okay. They hoard every item. You want to do that. Again, if you can't chametz, and let's say there's chametz and you can't reach it, you take out that Windex, you spray it till it's poisoned and you move on. Okay. If you can't get something, just don't worry. Just poison it, make it ruin. A dog's not going to eat it and move on. Okay. The garage. Now, I don't know what garages are like in the UK. But in Portland, Oregon, and in many places in America, garages are actually attached to our house. Like my garage, I walk out of my kitchen, I'm in my garage and I have all the storage. So storage could either mean like my mother, organized cans by like size, height, coordinated, by shape, by vegetables, or it could be, oh, the garage, let's dump everything we've ever owned in our lives that have to be fixed, broken, stored, any possible thing. So depending on what your garage is like, you're going to make a decision. You might say, I'm going to clean half, sell half. You're not cleaning out oh, wow, I didn't realize the garage was so messy. We don't care. It's not important. Either sell, or if you do not sell chametz, if your family does not sell chametz and you have a garage that is literally a storage room from like 1910, that cannot be done in the 5 days. You must tackle that before. Okay. So if it's trashed, block it off, sell it, whatever else you need to do on the other side, clear a space, get ready. And what we do is we buy so much food that I'm actually bringing in cases of fruit and vegetables, and I actually line all the floor in the garage with bags, and we're bringing in, and I need that space. Where is all the produce going? It's not going in the fridge. I don't have room for that. Boxes of potatoes. I mean, we could have a contest who goes through more eggs. We could do that at the end. Okay. But if you have hired help, if you have any cleaning needs, bring them out, give them the worst jobs, your oven, your fridge. And remember, last year we didn't have any hired help and we all made Pesach. So we will survive without any help. So we did it last year. I don't know, at least in America, we did it last year with no help. You could do it. We did it. You could do it again. Okay. If you haven't finished, you're going to empty out cabinets that you want in your kitchen, and you're going to clean them and line them, getting ready for your stuff. Now, again, you have options. Either you could do like some people, you do the entire kitchen. So you have every single thing and you're taking out everything. You could do that if you want. That's your choice. Or you could say, I'm going to do the minimum. Some people build plastic shelving in their kitchen, temporary, whatever is good for you. The point is that like, you got to kind of scan what you need done, and just it can't be too much. If at some point you're like, why am I doing this? Then stop, right? You don't need every single thing. Okay. So the goal is for this year, ideally by Tuesday night, you're already if you cooked, either you have two choices. If you want 2 days, then by Tuesday night, you're already starting to kosher your kitchen. Don't forget, you need 24 hours of not using the sinks with hot water before you kosher, which means from like around Monday night already, there's no more hot water being used in the sinks. So if you want to turn over Tuesday night, so you have 3 days to cook, fine. If you want to wait another day or another half a day, just push it off, whatever you need. You have 5 days to play, and it depends how much, but you should be able to, if you work fast and diligently, you should be able to get it done. You're going to confirm with your spouse and with your kids and your babysitters that everybody knows what is going on in the next few days, right? This next step, and again, please stop me, I know I'm going fast. This next step is really important. At this point, let's say it's Tuesday night and your kitchen's being koshered and you know that you have cooking days ahead. You're going to do now is you're going to sit down and you're going to make a list. This is not a menu. This is a cooking list. And it's going to say Wednesday, and it's going to list all the items you're going to cook on Wednesday, Thursday, everything you're going to make on Thursday, and Friday, everything you're going to make on Friday. And as you make them, you're going to cross them off with satisfaction that you've made it. You must do this, because if on Wednesday you wrote that you're going to make 20 things and you only got to 15, you need to move them over. Now, I like to cook for the whole Yontiv at one time, most of Yontiv at one time, but there's times that I'm like so tired and I can't do it. Okay, so I'm going to make a list and say, you know what? These extra cookles, they're for second days. I'm going to stop. I'm going to make a new list. Things to make for second days. I just don't want to forget. And then comes Chol Hamoed, and then the next days, and I don't know what I made and what I have. And then I'm pulling out, and then we have extra people, and I don't know what's flying. So just be organized. Make a list of everything that needs to be cooked. It's called a cooking list. Okay. So now I wake up on the next morning. It's Wednesday morning, and I am ready because my kitchen is kosher. I am good to go. At this point, somebody has to make sure that the fruit and vegetables are bought. Okay. We're not going to use anything fresh for the first day of cooking, but you need to have them in your house so you're ready for the next day. So at some point, someone should make sure to get everything. Eggs you already need, but you don't need fruit and vegetables yet, okay? So someone on this day should get, this is as close to Pesach as you're gonna wanna go, fruit and vegetable shopping. You don't need any fresher than this, okay? The first day, we're going to make the things that could freeze first, okay? And this is so important. Stop telling yourself that you need everything to be fresh, okay? If you're one of the fresh people here, I have lots to say to you peoples. My mother, okay, I talk about my mother a lot, I guess. Okay. My mother she worked in a senior citizen home, and she used to give meals to them every day. And one time she was visiting the caterer on Monday, and she's like, "How are you doing?" And she saw that the people were like making gefilte fish plates. And she was like, "Oh, you're having an event today?" And he's like, "What do you mean? It's for Shabbos." She's like, "It's Monday." He's like, "Yeah, of course. We plate our gefilte fish plates on Monday." The caterers are plating their gefilte fish on Monday for Shabbos. The kosher caterer here was doing cruises for Pesach for Alaska. After Hanukkah, they made the food and deep froze it, and they served it on the Pesach cruises. Most of the food was made after Hanukkah. Okay. When you get a caterer and you go to a Hanukkah party and you get latkes, they are not frying them fresh for you. They are making them before, and they are heating them up uncovered in the oven. Stop with the fresh. Okay. You don't need fresh. You're going to be fine. The vegetables will be fine. It's not as good. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Just start getting used to, okay, I'm joking. Some of you are like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe this lady." But really, like, it's not a big deal. And I can't tell you how many people, like, after making so many Shabbatones, and like, "I need to make everything fresh." I'm like, that's great that you need to make everything fresh. And if you have one thing to make, then you should make it as fresh as you want. But if you have to handle and you want to cook and get a lot done in a short amount of time, everything can't be fresh. Okay. So the first day I am making basically two things: all of the kugels and all of the desserts. Okay. That's it. That is my whole day.
I
All
just
the
want to add something, if you don't mind, because I do my kugels and my desserts, especially in the old days. I used to sometimes have extra guests coming, but now also because my table is quite, I don't have so many people at my table, I make individual little sizes. So at the end of the meal, I says, "Who would like a strawberry ice? And who would like a blueberry ice? Or who would like chocolate mousse?" And they're in individual portions.
Nice.
I've had these beautiful plastic cups that I bought about 25 years ago that I use for Pesach. And I make them ahead, shove them in the freezer, wrap them up airtight. Same with kugels. So I'm able to pull out per meal and also have variety, which
Great.
works. So it's
Amazing. So anything on the first day are things that you can freeze. Okay. We're going to start with that. So I mean, there's more you could do, but I don't want to get overwhelmed. And I'm making a lot of kugels. I might have potato kugel or apple kugel or onion kugel. And I'm making desserts, and we're making brownies and ice creams and everything you can make. Okay. And there's plenty of recipes you can get all over. So that's what I'm doing the first day. The second day is the meats, any of the meats, the chickens, the fish, any of that. Yes, it's all frozen. Yes, frozen. Okay. I'm just joking. If yours is for the first day, you could keep it fresh, but like literally everything's going in my freezer. The cooked vegetables for first days. So if I want to make grilled vegetables or anything like that, I'm not making green beans on Pesach, but like if I'm making roasted vegetables, so I would make that then and put it in the fridge. I'm not going to make that fresh for second days, but I'm going to make it fresh for now. Okay. I'm also going to make the soup for first days. Okay. Here's another one. Matzo balls. They freeze. Okay. You can make matzo balls for the whole Pesach at one time and freeze them. Yes. Yes. It's amazing. Okay. So that's what I'm going to do that day. I'm going to do any of the proteins, the chicken, the fish, and there's a lot of stuff because we're having a lot of meals. I'm making the brisket and the chicken and the turkey and the everything. And when you make it and you cut it, the cutting, by the way, please learn from my mistakes. Please buy an electric knife that actually cuts. Every time you're like, "Oh, I'll buy the cheap one." So you end up buying like 4 cheap ones, and then you go in and buy the expensive one because like it breaks again. Just save your money. Just go get a good one. Okay. For Pesach, there's so many meats and this and that. So we're making all that stuff. That's the second day. Okay. The third day, which is the lighter day, it's like a half day. So what I'm making then is fresh salads. I'm making the dressings, and I'm even going to make the dressings for all the days. I'm going to have a Ziploc bag that says coleslaw meal 8, and it's going to go in my fridge. Coleslaw meal 5. Every dressing is going in that fridge. Spinach salad dressing in a bag. Everything is ready. And then on second days, I just have to get the vegetables together. I don't have to now also make the dressings. Okay. I'm going to make the stuff for the Seder plate. Okay. Everyone wants the charosa. That's what everyone wants to help. I check the lettuce. Okay. That is not a small job, depending on how many people you have. I will check the lettuce then. That's it.
also just, you should know, we have halachas that our first Seder this year is going to be after Shabbos, and we can't do the salt water on Shabbos, and we're not going to be checking all those vegetables on Shabbos. So we're going to have quite a nice, relaxing Erev Pesach this year. We eat early, and then we can go take a nap, read a book.
Right. And you want to think about that, by the way, when you're making your menu. We're not just making for Seder as our first meal. Our first meal is Friday night. So we almost have to plan a Shabbos meal that's kind of Pesach, but it kind of needs pita because we can't really eat matzah. And again, so it's really, that's a fun fact for this year. But that's what I'm going to do. And after I finish that and I check the lettuce, and then I'm done. I am done for Pesach. I don't know, at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I'm done. That's it. I am not running into Pesach nervous. I'm not running around, hey, who made this before? It's over. We're done early, and everyone in my family will take a nap. Myself, I will bribe all of my children. Everybody who takes a nap gets like chocolate, whatever. Everybody is going to get, now this year, again, it's on a Shabbos. So everyone's going to nap Shabbos afternoon. They could all get some popsicle when they wake up. But the Seder is the most important meal of the year. And they have to be there. So I want to make sure they're up. But it's like a different focus. Most people are running around, they're preparing for 8 weeks, but somehow they're rushed at the end. There's no more being rushed at the end. The end is just as calm as like a regular day. So I just want to, and I want to share just, I know Ruthie, I mentioned this in the beginning, but I think it's important to talk about like how not to feel. Sometimes we make jokes like, I know the Jews weren't slaves, but I kind of feel like a slave. You ever hear these like lines of, and I think it's important like that we don't feel like schmatas. That when we don't look around feeling like, oh, I'm overworked. And we have to have like a positive attitude, not just like to be fake, but we want to instill that. And it's very hard when you're just cleaning and you're cooking the whole time that, how are we going to have that mentality of like, am I a slave? I thought I was supposed to be free at this. I thought this was the holiday of freedom. I don't feel very free right now. How are we going to do that? So just some thoughts, the chametz is really, it's the food that rises. It represents our ego. And when we get rid of the chametz from the house, we're trying to remove the ego from everything that we do. It's not about me. It becomes part of like the group. So when I go from room to room and I'm like, oh my gosh, instead of getting stressed out, I really try to take a second in a room. I'm getting rid of my ego. How many times is it all about me and my pride? And that's why I had a fight with X person, because I couldn't back down. I just couldn't back down because I didn't want to be a loser. And I started thinking about getting rid of the ego, getting rid of it. It's not about me. It's about trying to do the right thing. And I try to think of that when I go from room to room. And then another idea also, which is something that I really like to think about, is like, we talk about slavery and freedom. So we think, free what? Like, what do you mean free? So we're not really celebrating freedom from something. We're celebrating freedom to something. Freedom to. So what is a freedom to? It's freedom to make our own choices. It's freedom to do the right thing. And I like to think about this when it's the Seder night and everyone's sitting down and everyone's in their new beautiful clothing. And guess what happens? Your child comes and spills the cup of grape juice on your lap. And you are really annoyed and you're maybe even a little tired and you have a choice. You have a choice to lose it and make the Seder something that's going to turn into an uncomfortable situation, not a positive memory, not, wow, we're at the most important meal of the year and we're literally giving over, like we're passing Judaism over to the next generation. Instead, there's a fight and someone's yelling. When we sit at that Seder and we make a choice that we are not going to get angry, we are going to smile the entire time as if we are at the Academy Awards on stage and people are looking at us. And when we make that decision, that's freedom. Freedom is not, I'm free to go to a party, I'm free to do it. It's not freedom. Freedom is the freedom to have, and by the way, the feeling you get when you know you're doing the right thing, that true happiness, that feeling you can get on Pesach. And when you walk around cleaning and you're thinking about, I am free to make choices, and as your kids are pulling at you and they're driving you, and you are free to not get upset. And when you control yourself and you have that self-control, you feel like the freest person in the world. And that's the type of freedom that we're celebrating on Pesach. So no matter how hard you work, we wanna be focusing on that, focusing on real freedom and what it really, really means. So Pesach is in a month, and I don't care. Okay, honestly, I really don't care. I'm actually not making Pesach this year. I feel like I have to save that at the end. I'm actually going away for Pesach. So it's like, you should all make, but I do this. This is my system. I do it every year that I make Pesach. I love making Pesach. I wish that I could also make Pesach and be with family. And it doesn't work for us. We haven't seen our family in a while now. So we are going back. But I do hope that I've given you some tips and some tricks to help your Pesach preparations easier, more meaningful. And it's going to be something that when you get the system down, you're going to look forward to it, because it's kind of, it becomes more of it's a challenge. It's something exciting, and it's something that you can do. So I'm going to stop and take questions. If anyone has, just unmute, or I don't know if we'll see how it goes, but I hope this was helpful, and happy to take questions.
Put your cameras on as well, okay, and ask questions. A great question came in. I'm going to start with it, okay? So someone mentioned, first of all, welcome to the United Kingdom. We are in lockdown. We're not allowed to have anybody in our house. There are people, I actually see somebody in the group who right now is in another country and her husband is here. I hope you guys are going to be together for Pesach. You know, when you come into England, you have to go into quarantine in a quarantine hotel at your expense for 2 weeks. So go buy clothing. Okay, if you can buy it online, but we can't, the shops aren't open. So that's where we are. But I just want to take two things to address this, okay? One is, I heard a beautiful story from Lady Jacobovitz. When she was a young girl, she was the chief Rebbitzin of the United Kingdom many years ago. And she said that when she was a little girl, she was during World War II, a non-Jewish righteous Gentile hid 4 children underground, 2 boys and 2 girls. And it was winter and it was cold, but he would bring them food every day. And one day they looked up and they could see grass growing. And they said, oh, the spring is coming. It's going to be Pesach. So they decided to count and decide when Pesach was. And they asked the farmer if they could have flour and water, and they would make matzah. And as they got close to Pesach, they decided that they needed to have new clothing. So the 2 girls switched clothing and the 2 boys switched clothing. So they both had something new to wear. So be innovative, you know, it is a good idea. We need to spoil ourselves. We can get stuff online. You know, we can't necessarily go to get our fingers manicured, and I have learned to give my guys haircuts.
No, I mean, I live out of town. So anyway, all of our shopping is basically done ordering. So, you know, it's hard, but it is true. It's just the idea of feeling special. So it might be, you know, again, it might be something new, it might be training, it might be something, but you should come, especially for you and also really for your kids, they should come to that Seder and know that they are going to have the most important meal of the year. It's going to be your most beautiful dishes, your most beautiful everything. You're going to set up a meal that's fit for a king, and really to have that, you know, people in the chat, I'm just reading, advise you about toddlers before Pesach. It's great. That's why, by the way, I try to wait till like the end, to the last possible time that I'm going to turn my kitchen over and I'm going to clean my kitchen. At some point, you got to get the food out of the house, because if the food's in the house and you clean, they're finding that food. Okay. So you might have a thing where the porch, the deck, or whatever you have is going to get the food. Or you might, I'm going to say all the wrong things. It's a shot, it's a vaccination. Okay, so you're going to take that food and put it somewhere. At some point, you are going to switch over to kitnios probably, and you might say, here's your chips, here's your rice cakes, or everything is outside. We're eating outside. We're going to the park, back to the park. Literally, you want to do that. You could also, maybe there's, if you have a place that you could go to that's, you know, being sold, you could also have that area. Some people were eating in their garage for, you know, a day or two. So you'll have to just use that. But I would start getting that stuff out, especially the crumbs. As soon as you're ready, the 5 days, as soon as you start with those rooms, you got to get those crumbs out, because if you clean a room and they go in, you're going to be so stressed out, right? Buying Pesach chips early if you want them to have. We buy so much fruit. I mean, I'm like literally like, whatever oranges, just more fruit, just take fruit, you know, everything, just keep taking. So
get their fresh stuff then.
Yeah, so I'll even have extra, I mean, you just need stuff around, you know? So it's very, I'm just reading, hold on. It's on England, right? So everyone has to quarantine, and also in Portland, we're very closed. We've never left stage 1 since COVID a year ago. Okay. So that's how close we are. It's not the same as by you. It's like a different type of close, but we're also not having guests, but we are sometimes doing, people were doing already at some point outdoor social distance. They were doing different things. And I'm actually running a brainstorming session today and how to build community the days leading up to Pesach, because if you can't maybe we could still create community a few days before. Maybe I could help you do your shopping, or you could help me with my kids, or and we could be helping each other. So there's still ways to feel, imagine if you're making a kugel and you call somebody and say, I'm making a potato kugel. Can I make you one too?
Great
Or
idea.
if you got a call and you started trading, or you each
I'm available.
no, but if
too.
everybody took somebody, like how nice that would be. And then there's drop-offs, and you could drop off in their house as long as people eat and feel safe. And imagine if you're getting a little bag at the door that says, I was thinking of you, I was making brownies and I wanted you guys to have this. Or I knew it'd be hard. I'm older, I'm a grandma already, a bubby, and I know that you're going to have a hard time with your toddlers. Why don't I just feed your toddlers dinner one night or a few days before Pesach? Like, how nice would that be if we were all, instead of just stressing on ourselves, thinking about everyone else? And if each person's thinking about everyone else, then we're all taken care of. But it's just a nice way.
Beautiful, really beautiful. So a question did come into me, and that was last year, because we were really in a much more serious situation. There was a lot of illness. There was loss in the communities, and we weren't allowed to have anybody in our house, including a cleaner. It was new, and it was quite severe. So there were rules made which made Pesach quite easy. It was quite a minimalistic halachic Pesach for many people. So someone said, why can't we just do that this year? And I actually thought of an analogy I'd like to answer the question with. Because that you call that in halachic terms, that's called when something is b'shas adchak. There's a situation, so they say they don't change halacha, but it's not like, oh, you can eat non-kosher now, but the rules, there was somebody who got a psak halacha. Their husband was in the hospital and they wanted to keep him alive, and they were told by the Rav they have to keep their phone, they have to call him during the Seder to make sure the doctors don't do anything. They keep him alive. Things that were just unimaginable, but also with our preparation, what we did. I didn't worry about my car last year. I still haven't had it washed actually in a year. So I better do that. But I thought of an analogy, and that was, let's say we have season tickets to the theater, and we are really, really excited, and we heard that they're going to be, we're told, we get a message, we're going to still have theatrical productions, and we don't know how it's going to happen. And then our theater ticket arrives, and it says log in on Zoom. So we log in on Zoom because we're in this pandemic, and we don't manage to get dressed up like we usually would, and we put on our whatever, and we're really excited about this particular production. And there's no curtain that's open, and there's just like a stage, and there's one actor on the stage, and he's not dressed in any costume, and he has about 5 different pieces of paper, and he reads the different parts of all the actors and actresses that he's playing. And he does a good job. And at the end, he belts out the theme song, which you happen to love, and you join him in, and you start to cry. He said, that was really, really beautiful. What a beautiful production. Well, that's great. But by the time your next year's season ticket rolls around, you don't want the same type of production. We want to have the real thing, right? We want to have the stage and the costumes and the sets and the ambiance. Getting ready for Pesach is actually making a stage production. All those bits and pieces of what we do are actually creating the atmosphere that we want. And we're creating something within ourselves as well. So if we have that idea, so yeah, we needed to have a very minimalistic Pesach last year. And this year, there are some areas that one may feel they also need to be a minimalist, and one should speak to their local Orthodox rabbi about that. It could be that will be fine. But if we think about that, we really, minimalistic, it's not going to produce the same stage production. So, and as Meira said, we're cleaning out our egos. We're working on our egos. So, but I love your idea of being a community. Other ideas that anyone here might have of things that we can do, that we can share? Maybe people want to divide the Haggadah and write some bits and pieces up and share that with their friends and neighbors. Lend Haggadahs out. We have about 50 Haggadahs. You want a different Haggadah? You want to borrow ours? I don't mind if it gets wine on it. That's okay. You know, trade Haggadahs, so your Seder is going to be a little bit different. I'm trying to find out if this can become a download, and if so, we'll put it on our website. But this was out last year. It was called the Corona Haggadah Supplement. It's excellent. It talks about the different steps of the Seder, and then it explains how we can look at it through pandemic eyes, through a pandemic heart. And then it gives us 2 or 3 questions on that aspect of the Seder for discussion. And it can be discussion we can have with ourselves if it's just going to be ourselves at the Seder. So there are lots of fascinating resources that we have, and who knows, maybe the government will say we can have guests.
Okay, amazing.
Any
Thank
more
you so
questions?
much. Yeah, question? Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate being invited. Thank you.
Any more questions? Come on, British people are sometimes shy, but I see we have somebody from Italy on, so you can speak up. The British people can speak up as well. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Tova, sure. Go ahead.
Oh,
Oh, that's what Tova. What's your
Stella.
name? Stella. Hi. Hi.
Stella. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. I'm in
Stella.
Manchester, and
Pardon?
I was just curious. I'm in Manchester, and I'm curious. You were mentioning like a Pesach music list for cleaning. You know, upbeat, happy music. Who do you listen to?
Oh, me?
Talia, do you have any ideas? I happen to like, I don't remember what it's called. There's a song actually it's going to play for everyone. It's called, I've got the Pesach Blues. What's it called? Who does that? What's it?
That's Journeys. That's Journeys.
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 That's fun. But you have to do what's upbeat for you. You know, it might be, I might put on Dvorak, or I might put on, I happen to like George Winston. It's classical jazz. I might put on old-fashioned, beautiful Dvakas, because it sings to my heart. You know, it really is very, but there, you know what, I can look to see if there's a pre-Pesach playlist. We have a Shabbos playlist in our house. If so, we can upload it to the Kesher website. So I've put it on the chat, but I can put it on again. It's www.kesher.org.uk. Okay, and I'm also I also made the suggestion if somebody can't donate for the booklets and wants the download of the booklet, you can do it through the Kesher website, just mark what it's for, and we'll make the donation in dollars.
I just want to say there's also an app that I found, an amazing app. It's called jewishmusic.fm. I think that's what it's called. And it's all free Jewish music. There's loads and loads of different kinds of singers and artists, and there's tons of kids music. There's relaxing, and it's all Jewish and it's all free.
You put it on the chat so we can see what is it called?
On my phone, and you can just choose. You know, it's amazing.
Thank you, Talia.
Thank you.
Put it on the chat so we can see it. Super. That's great ideas, and thank you, Stella. Any other questions, pointers, suggestions, good recipes?
I was just gonna say that during Hanukkah, when I was getting ready for Hanukkah and stuff, I listened to a lot of the Maccabees on YouTube, and because I listened to the Hanukkah songs for the Maccabees, it played a lot of their Hanukkah songs plus a lot of other groups' Hanukkah songs. That's why I was wondering specifically for Pesach, like if there was any like specifically Pesach-y music, if that makes any sense.
Good choice. There's the Maccabees, but you can probably find songs of the Seder. And of course, there's different tunes for different customs, different parts of the world. You know, that's another idea that people can share. You know, maybe if people don't want to write up Torah on the Seder, you can share, if you have a friend from a different culture, you can share some of the customs. And then at your Seder, you can read about, I remember growing up, I'm from Los Angeles, which is now called Tehrangeles. And there were a lot of boys in the yeshiva from Iran, and they came to our Seder. And I learned there that there's a custom that you ask for spring onions or leeks, and you hit the person next to you. So, I see somebody's clapping and applauding. So, you know, share customs with people and ideas, and let's enrich our Pesach experience. Another thing is Cholamoid outings. I don't know what we're going to be allowed to do this year. Are they going to have the rule yet that we can meet with one person outside? Maybe yes, maybe no. Can we go for a ramble somewhere if it's within close to our house? But we went last year on some virtual tours. My husband and I went to Machu Picchu. We hiked Machu Picchu virtually. I went into the Vatican for a little while. I went to some museums. There was the Biblical Museum in the Museum with the animals. What's it called? They had tours last Pesach online that we could go learn about different animals that are in the Torah. So there are some fun things going on for the planning for the intermediary days. Any more questions? I see you've got some stuff in the chat.
Hi, can you hear me?
And who is that? Hi.
My
What's
name's
your
Sheila
name?
and I'm in London.
Hi, Sheila.
One of the things we do, or we did when we got a crowd, you can sort of download. They're funny Passover songs, and they're in English, but they're done to music of tunes. So you'd have sort of, I can't even remember now from last year what we did, but you know, there's there's Hanukkah, they're Pesach, funny, you can Google it, funny Passover songs, and so they're
Cute idea.
English songs, but you know, with you know, I can't explain it, sort of, I can't, you know, sort of words to do with Pesach, but you sort of you sing it to, I don't know, a musical, and it's great fun. We always do it at the end of our Seder, and we all get, you know, we call
That's
it
a
our
great
kosher
idea.
rep.
That's really nice. Thank you for sharing that.
And
now,
I can't,
Marie
you know, it's like one of the things, our Seder's the best Seder, or things like that, and it's done to one of the musicals, but you know something, I can't remember it now, I've got to dig it out.
Did you see?
It's a fun thing to do at the end of it.
Thank you. Now, Nurit has mentioned something important. Thank you, Nurit. From the second, it says in the United Kingdom, from the second day of Pesach, we can meet with one other family, other group outside, or up to 6 people from more than one family. That is amazing. That means we might be able to have meals in our garden, assuming it's not raining. Does that mean we might be able to have guests? I wonder if it applies to our gardens, or maybe we'll just eat in the park. So that's exciting. That's really good. That means from the second Seder. Thank you. Any other pointers?
Not
from second Seder.
No, from second day?
From Chol HaMoed.
Okay, good. So we got okay, that's fantastic. I won't have to go to Machu Picchu on Zoom this year. Oh, that's good news. Baruch Hashem. Any other pointers, questions, suggestions? I really loved the idea of people helping one another if people eat from other people's houses. But let's say you're not sure, you know, there's other things you could say to somebody, you know, why don't I buy, you know, send somebody a bouquet of flowers, not bouquet, but pick up for £1 daffodils and give them to a friend. That could be nice. Or we have to find ways to show our friendship and to feel like a community. Any other suggestions or questions? Otherwise, we'll call it a night. I will.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm going to just advertise. You can bring your shilas in 2 weeks' time. A pre-Pesach seminar with Rabbi Simon. It's going to be practical halacha, but it's because this year there are some nuances as far as what we can do, because we need to have hamotzi on Shabbos. And there's also going to be some his brilliant Seder inspiration. as well as lots of other things. You can find, we have a YouTube channel, and I'm going to put that link on. Just put Kesher channel YouTube, you'll find it, but it has a I'll Google the name for you. Okay. Any other questions? We're going to say goodnight.
Just to say thank you very much. You've got me all motivated now to get on with my cleaning. We're almost finished up.
Good.
So thank you.
Good. I
Welcome
see.
everybody.
Thank you for joining us. I see. Thank you, Nicola, for that message also, and Narit and Terry. Is that now? Which Terry is this? Is this Terry Ashkenazi?
Ashkenazi.
Is that what it is? No,
No,
I saw
I'm
named Terry.
Ashkenazi, but
No, I have a friend. We have somebody named Terry who's in Turkey. I thought she might be on because she's coming
in
to
Turkey.
Mhm.
Oi. I know it's not a very popular name, I'm afraid, particularly with the Yiddish Shachayas. I don't know why I'm called Terry. Anyway, all the very best.
Ivy
you.
here, you're going to be helping me with one of our spiritual spas coming up. You don't know about it yet. I don't know if she got off, but I have something up my sleeve with Ivy. Okay, great.
Can I just say,
Okay.
sorry, hello. Again, you know, I said about the songs. I've just Googled it. For example, one of the things you sing are, these are a few of my favorite things sung sung to the tune, and it's sort of songs like cleaning and cooking and dishes. It's just funny words. It's worth looking up to have fun. Just Google it. But you'll see Passover songs, and they're sung to, this one's sung to the tune of these are a few of my favorite things. And the thing is that everybody knows the tunes, and you just print out what sheets beforehand and you hand them out. And it's a quite good thing to do in between the meal or at the end of it, depending what time you finish. It depends on how many you do. But we always use sing one or two, and it's just good fun. It's worth doing.
Great idea. And also, don't be afraid to get your kids involved. Children need to participate. Make it wonderful for them. You know, they live in the space that we create in our homes. It's so important to remember that. So the energy that we promote is what they're going to remember for their Pesach memories. Yeah. So that's another opportunity that we have. Okay. I'm going to say thank you to Meira, because I know she's moving on to getting your mask on now. Is that to keep, as you checked that for Chametz yet?
People have come into the office, so I have to now. Other people have walked in, so I'm gonna keep a mask on.
What about our masks and Chametz? I guess we have to throw them in the wash. Probably a good idea. Okay, great. Okay, remember to get your download of the book. Either send the money in through cash, just mark what it is so we can get it for you in, because we can get it for you in dollars, or you can just make that trade. And the donation is from $10 and up. If you remember, put spiritual spa or kesher, or just say Tuesday night and it was great. Whatever, just summarize so she knows where it's coming from. Okay, so thank you very, very much. And if you want to know more about Kesher or Spiritual Spa or other programs, get in touch with we're on our website. I put my email as well. I again want to thank Meira for inspiring all of us. I think for motivating all of us. I think that is how we're leaving this, huh?